Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Vlogmas video. Today is day 5 of the Vlogmas Advent devotional readings, and today's devotional is all about the temple. So, today's devotional, like I said, is all about the temple. The miracle of the Messiah's arrival did not end with the baby's birth. 40 days later, Mary and Joseph slipped away from the Bethlehem house and began the 6-mile walk to Jerusalem. 8 days after Jesus' birth, after the couple had found a more suitable place to stay, the new parents held their son's naming ceremony. Joseph publicly proclaimed that the child would be called Yeshua, a name unknown in his or Mary's family, a name meaning salvation. Then we go into all of the different ceremonial traditions that occurred during this time. After that, Mary found Joseph in the crowd, and together they went to another Levite for the redemption of the firstborn. He who has sanctified us with his commandments and has commanded us to redeem the firstborn son, the Levite recited. Joseph gave the proper response. He who has given us life. The priest put out his hand, and Joseph placed 5 silver shekels in the man's palm. Your son is redeemed, the priest said, concluding the ceremony. Joseph had no sooner turned from the priest when Simon shouted from across the court and strode toward them with an urgency that belied his years. Neither Mary nor Joseph knew that God had made Simon a promise, and it had been revealed to him that he would not die before he seen the anointed one of Adonai. Luke 2:26. He took one look at the child in Mary's arms and extended his arms. A wavering smile shone through the man's long beard as Mary surrendered the baby. Now may you let your servant go in peace, O sovereign master, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light for revelation to the nations or Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel. Simon referenced a messianic prophecy in Isaiah 49:6. It is too trifling a thing that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and restore the preserved ones of Israel. So I will give you as a light for the nations, that you should be my salvation to the end of the earth. In only a few words, Simon declared 2 important truths. First, the Messiah would be a light for revelation to the Gentiles. A startling statement, because at that point, most Jews were not sure God wanted anything for the Gentiles. God had declared that Israel was his son, his firstborn. The question of whether Gentiles could receive salvation had been debated by Jewish sages for generations, but Simon proclaimed that Jesus had been born to bring salvation to all. Then Simon said to Mary, behold, this one is destined to cause the fall and rise of many in Israel, and to be a sign that is opposed, so the thoughts of many hearts may be uncovered. And even for you, a sword will pierce through your soul. Simon foretold that Jesus would cause division in Israel. Those who received salvation would rise, and those who rejected salvation would fall. Jesus would be a rock of offense for many, and because he had been born to Mary, Jesus would cause a sword to pierce her soul. Think of the Christmas story as joyful, and rightfully so. But just as a tapestry is woven of bright and dark threads, the joy of the Nativity must be juxtaposed against the suffering of the sacrifice. Simon's words to Mary and Joseph were filled with hope, joy, and pain. As human beings, we are averse to suffering. No one enjoys going to the dentist, and no one volunteers to experience pain unless motivated by some degree of love. A mother would donate a kidney to save her child's life. A firefighter would rush into a burning building to rescue someone who's trapped. Parents will skip lunch to buy Christmas gifts for their kids. And people will donate to give to less fortunate a delicious turkey dinner. For love, most of us are willing to set aside our comfort if we can help someone else. Magnify that impulse by infinity, and you can almost understand the love that compelled God the Father to send his Son, and his Son's willingness to endure the pain, weakness, and humility of being born in human flesh. of becoming a rock of offense and a stone of stumbling, of being spurned by his own family? Is there some task or meeting you've been dreading this month? Perhaps you need to have a difficult conversation with someone. Perhaps you need to steel yourself against the pain and say what needs to be said with love. Perhaps you need to risk discomfort to reach out to someone who needs you. Know this: you can never love that person as much as God does. Father, we acknowledge that we have been called to experience your suffering as well as your joy. You never said the Christian life would be easy, but you promised that your Spirit would comfort, guide, and keep us always. Help us to be like Mary, who pondered Anna's and Simon's words and kept them in her heart, knowing that her future suffering would pale in comparison to the ultimate victory. Oh my gosh. There is something about reading that out loud that got me. Okay, I'm trying to film video here, girl. Okay, so that one was very powerful for me, because, especially like with the week I've been having. I've been just like grumbling about little things. The Lord, he made the ultimate sacrifice for us. This intro went a little bit longer than normal, but I think it was worth reading this one out loud today a little bit longer. I hope that you all were blessed by it. I know I was. I read this like last week and now I'm reading it out loud, and something about reading this out loud to you guys just hit me, because we all know we're going to experience suffering, but at the end of the day, the Lord, his Spirit, is going to provide that comfort and that joy and keep us with him always in our hearts. He's going to comfort us and guide us, just like it said. And we need to remember that sometimes. I think we all need that reminder. No matter what, he is with us. And so I hope that blessed you today, and that tomorrow we will talk all about Egypt. Hope you enjoyed the next part of this video.
Hey y'all, we're back. Day number 5.
The hubs is ready. So we're going to film like a bunch of them tonight. So you'll see us in the same clothes as usual, but we here. So, all right.
So we on number 5. So we're going to try to get into this pretty clean. So I'll open this up here.
And his is a Pokemon advent calendar, and mine's like a Harry Potter one for those just joining us today.
So we got a pack today. Wonder what's in here.
Cards?
Yeah. It's a mini. Oh, it's a Fusion Strike. It's an actual pack. That's cool.
What does that mean?
It's an older set. So.
It's older?
Yeah, like not like really old, not like 20 years old, but it's an older set. Oh, this one's actually ripping out easy. Might not need the scissors on this one. Uh-oh, or maybe I will. Seems. Oh yeah, this is like easy to open up. Okay. Okay, we're good on this pack. Apparently it just opened right up, so let's see what we get.
Let's see what we got, if there's any I know.
Some of these packs are easy to open.
The hubs and his Pokemon cards.
So, ooh, you know this one.
Voltorb.
Yeah.
Voltorb. I remember him.
Pansage.
Honey, I ain't got no idea.
This is a new one.
Monkey,
So we'll
it's a monkey.
put the new one, the old one. Q-Fant.
What is this?
I don't know, that's a newer one. Gligar is also a newer one, so. Slugma. Man is like next. Oh,
no.
We have a reverse holo. This is a clay doll. This is a newer one, but I do recognize this one. It's cool. So.
I don't know.
Okay, Verizon. We have the phone.
It's not Verizon.
I know, I'm making it up, but it looks like it's Verizon. It's Verizion. We call it Verizon, the phone Pokemon. Right. So, an energy card. You know what that is if you play the game, anyways. A trainer. I don't know who Judge is.
Bro.
Myself. Luxio and yeah. So these were all new Pokemon except for Voltorb. That's random. But anyways.
How you feel about it? Is it good for you or no?
A lot of these are random in there. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Voltorb's cool.
I know very little, and I'm sure most of the people on my channel won't know much either.
Yeah, these older packs, these aren't like my favorite ones to collect. I'm more into like the original, 151 Pokemon. So anyways, Amanda will go to her Harry Potter setup, yeah.
All right. So this is the Harry Potter Holiday Magic calendar. So let's do day 5. Day 5 actually looks like, where is it? Oh,
right there.
Is it a bookmark?
Oh, maybe it is. That
Let's
would be
see.
cool.
It's got candles all
Kind
over
of a
it.
thin bookmark, though. Maybe it's a candle?
Oh, it's washi tape.
Well, Amanda loves that.
I think. Oh, no, wait. What is this?
Yeah, it's like tape, isn't it? Is it a bookmark?
I don't know. It's sticky.
Yeah, you put it on like the end like a page marker. Is it like a page marker? You
Well,
know,
that's cool.
like inside the book, like a bookmark. You know, like, well, you put like your little bookmark things.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's got different designs. I'll put a picture in of it.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Does it
It's
have
like
each house?
a strip. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What if
So
it
we
tells
got
you exactly what that is?
Yeah, this is like
It's not.
inside your book if you want to like
I
bookmark
think it'd be
something.
more like journaling too.
Yeah, it's like a bookmark thing. Slytherin,
So-
Gryffindor. These are cool.
I'll probably
though.
use that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you just put a page out there, you know, like a bookmark. You know what I'm talking about. So it's
Like
like
in your planner.
so, yeah, it's like a bookmark, but it's like a, you know, like
Sticky
your-
note.
Yeah. What do you do with washi tape? I'm not.
Put anywhere like stationery and
So
that
it's
stuff.
literally just to decorate.
Yeah.
Because I've never used it. Okay. That's
cool. I like that one. That's better than some of the other stuff we got.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for day 5. We'll see y'all tomorrow with day 6. Welcome back to another Vlogmas video. This is going to be clean book alternatives. So what do I mean by clean book alternatives? It means that if you like this, try this if you want a clean version, basically. If you like this secular book, let's try this clean Christian book or whatever we come up with, right? So I want to mention this because I had some people request this type of video on Instagram or YouTube, both sides really, and I've seen some things like this floating around at times, and I kind of come up with a list, asked some of my friends what they think as well, and so just have come up with a kind of like a short list of, you know, popular, what we could call book talk, booktube, but not videos, books. And I thought, what is a clean or Christian read that I have read over the last couple of years that could be similar, that you would be an alternative to those secular, spicy, explicit, whatever the content may be, books. And so that's where we are today. We have got a whole stack, okay? I know y'all see some Becky Wade up in here, you know. So I'm just going to jump right in and say, this honestly comes from my reading habits changing, my taste changing over the last, I guess 5, 7 years. I don't even know. 2017, so what, 7 years? I'm just saying, I can't do math. But my reading tastes have changed a lot. So I can say from experience too, because I have read some of these secular books and I've read the clean books, and now I know what the alternative could be. So I have some experience with this as well. So first and foremost, Outlander. If you are someone who, like me, I loved Outlander in the past, or you've seen just bits and pieces of things, but you really don't want to get into the show or the books and all the explicit stuff that can follow with it, right? And you want a good, clean alternative. You know what I'm about to say. Gabrielle Meyer, okay, when the day comes, and in this moment, and book 3 is for a lifetime. It's coming out in May. That's my birthday month, y'all. Ooh, we love to see it. And so these are time travel. They're not Scotland, okay, but they are time travel romances, and very interesting. They are just some of my favorite books of all time. This book, When the Day Comes, is the ultimate of the two for me. I still gave both 5 stars. Now, don't take that with, you know, I ain't saying nothing bad about this one, but When the Day Comes was honestly just such a gem that I needed, a book I truly needed. At a time in my life when I was struggling with getting rid of Outlander off my shelves, you know? And you all have heard me talk a lot about this, how I've changed as a reader, all that stuff over the last year. And this one was the book that kind of did it. And this truly is a great, both of these are just a great alternative to that type of story. The reason I say that is, you know, time travel is an Outlander. There's a romance that just tugs at your heartstrings in both sides. But in Outlander, there are explicit sex scenes. There is some language, quite a bit of language actually. And, there's content that is not appropriate or not clean. And this series is truly one that is. And I love the time travel element. We have our main characters that have like a gene, and similar to Outlander, there's a gene of time travel. And whereas in Outlander, they like touch stones and they can like steer and all this stuff between different time, and there's like certain rules to being able to do it. In here, they wake up every day in a different time, and when they turn 21, they have to decide, which time are they going to stay in. They have different parents in each timeline. It's just very interesting and just unique. It's something unlike anything I've ever read before, even outside of Outlander, but it has enough of like that vibe that I can recommend it for someone who likes a good time travel romance. This is it. And there's lots of landmarks. There's a lot of history in these. There is a lot of history in Outlander as well. Also in the 1700s here. We're in the 1700s in Outlander. So trying to make some of the comparisons for you there. This is very unique in its own way as well. So great faith content, twists and turns. You will not regret reading these. I love them so much. I will mention the only content in this book when the day comes is there is a marital sexual assault in this, but it is off page. I was not bothered by it personally, but I want to mention that because it could be triggering for some, because she does have a lot of those emotions through that process, very upset through it. But you see her journey in the story, and most people that I've talked to have been okay with it, but I do want to mention that just because of that content there, but it's nothing explicit in any way, I will say, not detailed. So yeah, overall, love this series, and I cannot wait for the next one. I cannot wait. I keep saying that in all my videos. Every time I pull this out, I'm like, I can't wait for the next one. But truly a great alternative, okay? And editing Amanda here, really quick. I want to mention The Rose and the Thistle by Laura Frantz as a great alternative to reading Outlander. If you're looking for a book that's more of that Scottish setting, Scottish characters, the Jacobites in the 1700s, the rebellion, the crown, all the stuff going on between the Brits and the Scots, like all that stuff that happened in the 1700s, the political intrigue of that, Culloden War is mentioned in this. So yeah, this is a really great alternative to that for the historical setting side, whereas When the Day Comes doesn't necessarily have the Scottish setting, but it has that time travel element in the romance, right? So both of these have a little something different. This is also a book that I really got that Outlander feeling from it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I forgot all about this. And when it was our book club pick for this month, I was talking to Oshina about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is a good recommendation, alternative, clean alternative to reading Outlander. This is set in the 1700s. Lady Blythe Headley, her father is declared an enemy of the British crown because of his Jacobite sympathies. She is forced to flee her home in northern England, actually being kept safe by this guy Everard, and he's like the laird of the place and all that stuff. And so she is a Sassenach, we'll say, an English woman, just like Claire is in Outlander, and then he is a Scotsman like Jaime in Outlander, right? So that's the connection that I made. A lot of the history is in here as well, and there are some side characters that are Scottish and stuff. And so yeah, it's a really great alternative. We have just all the political intrigue, the romance between an English woman and a Scotsman, and just the setting in the 1700s. Definitely a great alternative to reading Outlander. So sorry I look crazy, but I'm editing this video right now, and I was like, we're just gonna go ahead and put this in here. Crazy looking at all because transparency moment, and I don't have time. So we here. So Rose and the Thistle, Laura Frantz, highly recommend. Great Christian historical romance. Okay, it's a slow burn. So I will say. Let me say this really quick before we stop. This book does have a lot of historical stuff in it. So if you're not someone who's gonna love like the history of this, and I'm biased, so just be honest with you, but if you're not someone who's gonna love the history of this and a slower romance, then this probably wouldn't be for you. But that's how Outlander is, honestly, so that's why I'm putting that in here, this in here as well too. But I was biased because I love the history of Scotland in the 1700s, the Culloden War, all that stuff. I like know a lot about it, what's happened in the past because of my past with loving Outlander in the past. So like, Yeah, but I want to just preface this recommendation with, it's a historical romance, but it's like not all, that's not the whole plot. Like, you see a lot of the intrigue, the politics and stuff as well. So yeah, I just want to mention that for those that may not be as into historical stuff. You may not love this as much, but I still really loved it personally because of the Scottish setting. So yeah, love this. And then we have got Bridgerton. This is one I have not read or watched or anything. I literally know nothing other than the previews, okay? And I know it's explicit. But I have heard from several people that these two books would be great for people who love Bridgerton and I want a clean version. And so that's why I'm bringing that up. We've got the Hawthorne House series, A Noble Masquerade by Kristi and Hunter, and then A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin. This is a secular one, but it is clean, and this is a Christian one. And like I said, these both truly have that Regency feel, just like Bridgerton. All of the, you know, dukes and castles and all the stuff. And balls, I want to say. I'm sure there's dances. What am I saying? I can't remember, but I know that people have said these are perfect for Bridgerton lovers, and I have read both of them, and I think I could definitely agree with that from what I've seen here and seen in the previews of that show. So yeah, I give this one, Sophie Irwin's, I gave 4 stars. It wasn't perfect, but it was clean, and I don't think I'm going to read book 2 because there is some content in there that I don't agree with, so I'm not going to read book 2, but I do think A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting was just a fun, clean read, a Regency read. And then A Noble Masquerade series had me laughing a lot. There are letters and all this stuff in here. If you like books that have like letters written back and forth, this is a good one as well. So there's so much going on in this. Not too much about these in detail, but I will leave my reviews down below if you want to read through them. But also, this is just a great Regency read. Highly recommend. I need to read book 2. Please pick it up if you are someone who would think you like Bridgerton but you don't want that explicit content. Pick these up, okay? So that's that. And then we've got Daisy Jones and the Six. Okay, I read this when it first came out. I listened to the audiobook. I gave it 3 stars. It's before I started reading clean books, I'll say. And but even back then I was like, wait, this is too much for me. And I was reading other books like Colleen Hoover and other things as well. So it's like, you know, but I do want to say that I think Daisy Jones and the Six, if you don't know anything about it, it's kind of like, some people say that it's really like Fleetwood Mac's story, but I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't know. Yeah, lots of drama. There's a lot of sexual content. And no, there's a lot of explicit content in this, I will say. Language, sexual content, drugs, all that stuff. Like, think of like the 70s and a rock band. There you go. But it was just very crazy. And the book had like interview style throughout most of it and different, like a full cast at the time when I listened to it. But I think instead of this one, a good alternative to this one is going to be The Best Summer of Our Lives by Rachel Hauck. The reason I say this is this book kind of has a lot of the same feelings that Daisy Jones gives you. It gives you that, like, there's drama between the characters, torn apart. There was a lot of being torn apart in Daisy Jones. In this book, a lot of that drama feeling. They were at a summer camp, you know, it was back in the 70s, just kind of like Daisy Jones. I'm pretty sure it was 70s for Daisy Jones. And then there's like flash forwards to the 90s, and I can't remember the like Daisy Jones timeline where it flashed forward, you know, the present day stuff. I can't remember, even if it was present day. It's lost me. But either way, there's the 70s and the 90s. And it's very similar in those aspects. And I think that this would be a really good one because it gives you a lot of that drama, that back and forth, like what's happening. There's so much going on. These girls are fussing. You know, they're not friends anymore. Why are they not friends anymore? What happened to cause this rift between them back in the 70s? And so it's very similar in that regard. So yeah, because there was a lot of like breakups in bands back in the 70s. So yeah, that's kind of how I made the correlation personally. But I think that in Rachel's book, you have just some really nice light faith element about Jesus that I really appreciated, that I think could minister to people. So that's a really good alternative to Daisy Jones and the Six. In Beach Read by Emily Henry. I've never read this book, but I know Emily Henry writes more spicy romance, okay? And if you don't want to read that, one that's very similar to that is going to be A Novel Proposal by Denise Hunter. I love this book. It's a really great summer read, or probably even a good spring read. It's cute, clean. There's this author named Sadie, and she goes to the beach and stays in this duplex, and this guy is like her next door neighbor at the duplex. And what was his name? Sam? Yeah, Sam. So Sadie and Sam. And of course, you know, they kind of get to know each other throughout the process. There's a missing engagement ring that they find in a book because she did like a little free library there on the beach, and someone left a book that had a missing engagement ring. So there's a mystery of that, which is really fun to figure out who's this missing engagement ring, and they're getting to know each other along the way. She's trying to write, I think she wrote romance for a while, and they were wanting, or maybe she wrote, no, what's right? She wrote westerns, I think, or something. She wrote different types of books, and she has never really been in love, and that she's wanting to write romance, so she goes to the beach to get inspired. That's it. Look at me remembering. It took me a minute, but it just, a lot of people say it's a lot like the beach read from Emily Henry. Oceana's where I think I saw that, so I threw that in here, so I'm going to credit her for this. Really a good alternative to that book, because this is completely clean, super cute, and great beach, actually a great beach read, and a good alternative to that book. Now, to just kind of generalize a couple of things, for those who want to read a good sports romance, or just like a rom-com, or just general rom-coms, okay, I want to mention a couple of authors. I've only got one physical book, honestly. But Courtney Walsh is a really great rom-com author. She's clean. There's one book by her I've not loved, but I've read 2 others of hers. The only book I haven't loved by her was her Isadora Bentley book, but that really wasn't a rom-com. I think she does really well with the rom-coms that I've read, because I've read Cross Country Christmas, and I really enjoyed that many years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, or whenever it come out, 2021 maybe. And then Can't Help Falling was book 3 in the Sweater Weather series. I loved it. Y'all know I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. She just has the greatest rom-coms. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. They're nice, they're cute, they're clean. Love them. And a lot of other people say the same. She has like a Valentine's one. She has a Christmas one that I need to read, another one. And she has like a cross-country wedding. There's all kinds of rom-coms that she has. So I need to kind of get into more of hers. But I want to mention her because if you're looking for a good romance that's clean, that's one. Another author that I have read, one of her books in the Sweater Weather series was Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair. Really enjoyed that. I want to read more of her books. Other people have raved about her books. So hopefully I will enjoy others. But I know I've read only one of hers so far, so you know, it could be, you never know, but I do want to mention her because I really did enjoy that. I gave it 4 stars. There's a few things I didn't love, but overall still really enjoyed it, and she was clean. Very cute. Next author I have for a clean rom-com would be Jenny Proctor. I have read How to Kiss Your Best Friend. Really enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Again, a couple things didn't love, but overall, great, clean rom-com. Really good. Then there's Savannah Scott. I read Friendshipped. Gave it 3.5 stars, but I've heard that all her other books are phenomenal. My friend Lindsay Lemus has absolutely raved about her books, and so many other of my friends too. But, you know, Lindsay actually finished reading her book in the Sweater Weather series and was telling me, hey, so much growth over the course of her writing career since Friendship, and I just can't wait to read more of her books because I need to know. And Friendship was actually really good. I'm just not much of a Friends to Lovers person at the time. I didn't think I was. Maybe I am now. I've read a couple more, so maybe it was just that one took a long time and had some of that miscommunication a little bit more than I like normally. But honestly, it was still really good. Hilarious. The banter, the humor in her books are just, they get me. They're so good. So that's why it was like, I think I rounded it up to 4 stars because I still really enjoyed the humor, even if I didn't love the romance as much. So yeah, I need to read more of her books, and she is completely clean. We've got Sarah Adams, The Cheat Sheet. Now, she is no longer going to be, this is kind of that, like, I didn't know if I should mention it, but sports romance. This is a really good sports romance, The Cheat Sheet. Again, it's 4 stars. It does have some language in it, so just be aware. I don't think the other ones I just mentioned have any language, but sorry if they have like at least 1 or 2 words. Nothing that's like obvious, right? That I can remember right off. Okay. Sarah Adams definitely does. She likes to use the S word and all that stuff. I don't think she has the F words, but she has like the smaller words that people consider smaller words, whatever. So just take that with a grain of salt. But it really was a good, clean, closed door romance. And I enjoyed it. He's a football player and all that stuff. It was fun. But her newest stuff is definitely not going to be, she's doing some kind of modification thing, they said, is what she said. Like, clean with modifications. So I guess like you could, like, the chapter, all the bad stuff will be in like one chapter and it will tell you, and you could just skip it and it won't impact your story reading. I don't know. But honestly, even her last one, Practice Makes Perfect, my friend read it and was like, it was supposed to be clean, closed door, and the stuff she poked fun at was not for me. So I don't think I'm going to read her newer stuff, but her older stuff, her backlist, I'd be more interested to pick up because I know they're supposed to be clean, closed doors. So sorry for that kind of like circle back here, but like I want to mention the cheat sheet. Even When in Rome's good, but the cheat sheet, you know, had like a good sports romance element, and I wanted to mention that. So then I want to talk about spooky books, thrillers, suspense, right? Like there's so many thrillers out there that have infidelity and all this mess, and you know, things that you don't really want to read. Definitely explicit content, lots of curse words. So for me, if you have I missed one. I just remember Becky Wade now. I just missed what I meant to say earlier. We'll circle back, okay? Oh, I got it never written down. Okay, we'll go back in a minute. If you want to read a suspense or thriller book that's like, gives you the same feeling as like a thriller does, or suspense, keeps you on the edge of your seat, but doesn't have all that explicit content, first, I highly recommend Nightfall and Cold Pursuit by Nancy Mehl. I have really enjoyed these. I've got Mind Games I just recently got, so I want to read it. But her books definitely have a creep level that I don't think I'd read past 8 p.m., but I've said that several times. But her books really have kept me on the edge of my seat. They usually have a point of view of a killer. These two do. And it's a little bit unsettling, but it's not explicit to me personally. I have very, very low tolerance to some of that stuff. There are maybe a couple scenes, I will say, that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you can easily get past it and it's done. So nothing that's like triggered me, okay? So I want to mention her for like just general spooky, I don't even know if it's spooky, just general thriller suspense books that are clean. And then, what am I doing? Put that over here. And then, of course, Terri Blackstock, y'all. Like, where have I been? I've been meaning to mention her in several videos and I keep forgetting. So the If I Run trilogy, I only have the first book, but I've read all three. This was a book I read when I first started my channel, and I absolutely loved the whole trilogy. Read it in a week. Great suspense, on the edge of your seat. There's a little bit of romance in here in the series. It's just so good. There's a girl, Casey. She's on the run. They think she's the one who killed her friend, and she did not. There's corrupt police and stuff in this because it had something to do with her dad and all this stuff, because her dad had been killed, and they said it was a suicide, but it wasn't. So there's all that kind of stuff going on. I mean, I highly remember a lot about this, and it has wonderful faith content, you know, a redemption, of salvation, all this in here. So it's perfect. Does not cross the line for me. I could easily reread these. They are wonderful. I need to get the other two books so I can keep them on my shelf so I can remember. But I've also read Truth Stained Lies by her. Really enjoyed it. I unhauled it just because I don't plan to reread it. But this is like an all-time favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like, If I Run truly is. So I've kept it. Jaime Jo Wright, if you like more of the gothic spooky feel for books, I highly recommend her. Lost Boys of Barlow Theater, recently read this, and y'all know I loved it. And The Vanishing at Castle Moreau, recently I read this year as well. Loved it. 5 stars on both of these. And Echoes Among the Stones is another one. I got it up there. I didn't grab it, but I gave it 5 stars, which really more like a 4, I think, now that I've read these two, and they're just so good. But she doesn't have... The Souls of Lost Lake, I've heard, is probably her most, quote, controversial, but just because it has a little bit of the slasher type elements in it with this axe and a young child. So if that's triggering, I'm not going to read it. I DNF'd it when I first picked it up, but I mean, everything else I've read from her since has not been like that. So just want to mention that. Sometimes an author could have one book like that and the rest of it's not. So that's why I say that, because these two are more gothic, just spooky, not real explicit in anything. I mean, I truly enjoyed these. They're more mystery feeling than anything to me. So, really great stories. They're dual timeline. I think all of hers have been dual timeline, and they have a great faith thread, you know, and here she does talk about the supernatural, but she combats it with faith, Christian faith, and I love that. And in Castle Moreau, there was a beautiful faith arc at the end that I loved. Her endings are wonderful. So highly recommend Jaime Jo Wright if you want someone, if you don't want to read like an explicit, scary, dark, deep thriller or horror or any of that, or that stuff, because I definitely ain't gonna read no horror. But I ain't gonna be reading none of that stuff. But pick up Jaime Jo Wright, because I could read her past 8 p.m., I think. Depending on the book. Not to sow the lost lake, but then I can. Okay, I'll be okay. And now let me circle back to where I was. Okay, why Becky Wade's on the shelf. So my Colleen Hoover stage, okay, I will admit, I followed her on Facebook, but when she had like 1,000 followers 10 years ago, 2012, actually. Is that 10 years ago? No, that's more than 10 years ago. Okay, it was like 2012, okay, when I followed her, and I read Slammed, I read Point of Retreat, Hopeless, like November 9. There's several of hers that I read. Like, I mean, it was binging, okay? I was 22 years old, okay, reading all these. And, I mean, I didn't read clean books back then. And looking back, I don't even know how explicit they were from the beginning, but now they definitely are. I've read It Ends With Us, and I will say I did like It Ends With Us at the time I read it. It does deal with domestic violence and all that, but, you know, she is what I call a trauma seeker in her books, okay? Like, she writes about all this trauma. If you like her, it's fine. I ain't saying that about you. I'm just saying her books have a line of trauma, okay? And it's almost like sometimes shock value for some of these. And so if you want to read something like her, you're getting away from reading her, whatever it is, okay? Because I can attest, I've read a lot of her books back in the day. The last one I think I read was, I did read another one called All Your Perfects, whatever that was. I gave it 3 stars. I can remember those books. Some of them I gave 3 to 5 stars. It just depends back in the day. And now I will not read her. If you want somebody that has like a level of like realistic problems in life, a great faith thread, the content, you know, is like real life problems. You know, there's drug addiction in some of these books. There's people that have been put in jail. There is always a redemption faith in these books, and I highly recommend them, okay? We've got Becky Wade, Misty River series. I didn't pull it off. Oh, I did. My bad. And My Stubborn Heart. Okay, so, like in My Stubborn Heart, there's a guy, he's lost his wife, and he's dealing with grief of that, and he meets the girl. You know, he's not sure if he wants to get involved with her, and there's all this stuff. Like, there's definitely some baggage on these characters, and the Lord just really works in his life and in hers as well. It's beautiful, right? But there's a heavy topic there. There's a layer of trauma that somebody has experienced. And then we've got the Misty River series. And each of these, there was some trauma, okay? Stay with me. Our main girl, Genevieve, she has a pill addiction. She's trying to get over that. Sam, he ends up helping her. We love to see it, okay? She's a Bible study author. All this stuff. Got Let It Be Me. This one had a character that was trying to find her actual parents that she'd been lied to forever. She didn't know that her parents were not her parents, and so she does a DNA test, figures it out, and that's like a level of trauma for her, you know, and just the DNA test results and all this stuff. And then we've got in this one, I think really 1 and 3 are more so like a Colleen Hoover versus 2, but you know, you probably should read book 2. And really all the characters, there's like a side story of where many of these characters were tied together through a earthquake many years ago. They're very fortunate that they even lived. And so that's a level of trauma as well. And then we've got Turn to Me though. And this one definitely would be like one of her books because but from a Christian clean side, right? This guy, his life has been self-destructive, Luke, and he's been in prison. Say less. I mean, he's trying to turn his life around and meets Finley and everything, and just wow, there's like a mystery as well in this. It's so good. So I highly recommend Becky Wade as an alternative to Colleen Hoover because she has just the best realistic situations in her books. And I need to read more of her backlist. They're just wonderful. And they have this great faith element. And then Tammy O'Grady. These 2 books are here. Now, I've not read the second book, but I've heard it's just as emotional as the first. So the first book I have read. My Hope Next Door. There is a character who, you know, was addicted to drugs, had a bad relationship, an abusive relationship with her boyfriend, I want to say. And he's just crazy when she comes back to town. And there's all this drama. I mean, me and my friend Amy Buddy read this, and we were like, girl, we had to take like a whole year break from reading the next one because it was so heavy, you know? Like, we ain't been inclined to buddy read the second one just yet. Like, we want to, but like, we gotta be in the right head space, okay? The faith in this made me cry. There's a part at the end where our main girl, Katie, like, is with this woman, and it just, I broke down in tears. The forgiveness in this book was beautiful. It was wonderful. And but to get there, she had a lot of parental trauma with her parents, with her mom specifically. I mean, it was bad. Lots of fighting with them, and then fighting with her ex-boyfriend. He won't leave her alone. There's a lot of that stuff, and it definitely puts you in the mind of a Colleen Hoover, but like the redemption in the Lord in this book was top tier. So highly recommend this, okay? And then my Unexpected Hope, I think there's a divorce, grieving her divorce. It has characters from this. So like there's divorce, all this stuff, you know? It's like there's all kinds of stuff, and I know it's going to have a great faith thread. So yeah, those are all of my like immediate thoughts. I know if like you want a good YA, an author would be like Melanie Dickerson, has some great fairy tale retellings. A lot I have on my shelf here I've not read. I have read the Daracot Tales. We've talked about that. Definitely those are great clean YA fairy tale retellings. Just a lot of great clean authors for most everything I read here on the channel. If you're looking for, you know, other recommendations, please check out more of my recommendation videos down below. I've got clean historical fiction, biblical fiction, fantasy, all kinds of good stuff there. Romantic suspense, all that stuff's down below. I'll link it down below. Been kind of working through a series to try to make sure that you all have access and updates on clean books. And I'll have a romance video as well where I talked about Becky Wade, Tammy O'Grady on some of her other books and all the things. So yeah, I'll link all that down below and other book recs down for you all to check out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it's a little chaotic. I didn't really prepare. I didn't go in depth about the books. Just wanted to kind of show them, tell you the authors, let you all decide what you think. I will leave my reviews written out down below, the links to them. Some may be Goodreads, some may be my blog, but I will leave all that down below. And I will also leave I'll also leave links to the books either on Amazon and Baker Bookhouse if it's on there, and if it's not on Baker Bookhouse, just Amazon, whatever, so you can check that out for yourself. So yeah, that's all the logistics of that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye y'all.